sneaky big week with the owners' meetings and everything else. There's more stuff to get to here. Let's play Fact or Fiction. Dominique Foxworth, if I said the 49ers are going to regret giving Brock Purdy all that money, would that be fact or fiction?
I don't care whether it's fact or fiction. None of that matters. Let's be clear about what Brock Purdy did there. He saved everyone's damn job. Pay him all the money he wants. Mr. Irrelevant showed up. And let's not forget, they compiled a bunch of capital to go get Trey Lance, and it didn't work out. And that, when you make picks like that and they don't work out, everyone gets fired. Unless Mr. Irrelevant shows up and is still statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the time that he's gotten there. I don't care if you want to give the credit to Shanahan's scheming or the talent around him. The fact of the matter is he's earned this money. So I don't give a damn whether it's going to be harder to build a roster going forward or not. That man saved everybody's job. He deserves more than they pay him. Keep paying him more and more money and figure it out on the back end. Draft well. Do something. Play good defense. I don't care what you do, but you don't take any money from Brock Purdy.
I agree with that. If you really think about it, they made a movie about Kurt Warner's life, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what could be more improbable than this? Here's a script. Here's a script I got for you. Okay, let's try and sell this in Hollywood. Team's going to trade a whole lot of stuff to move up and get the third pick in the draft. Sure. That guy's literally never going to play for them, but the very last guy in the draft is going to wind up being unbelievable and save the day. It's actually almost too ridiculous to be true.
It's pretty ridiculous. I mean, to Nick's point, they got lucky. The Trey Lance pick should be the thing that sinks your franchise, and the fact that it didn't is a testament to Brock Purdy and what he's done with his opportunity.
Team-friendly deal in a lot of ways, too. I mean, the top 10 paying quarterback, but you're not paying him the most and doesn't break the bank. And to Purdy, I give him respect. Never spoke publicly, never fired his agent and hired one of the bigger guys. Purdy was loyal to his people, and it all worked out in the end.
All right, let's keep going with Fact or Fiction. Traeger, you're next. If I said this season is a failure if the Bears miss the playoffs, is that fact or fiction?
I think it's fiction. I think last year, they blew the whole thing up, and now it's year one of the Ben Johnson era, and there's going to be a long runway with this. Ben Johnson is making huge money for an NFL head coach, the most we've ever seen from a first-year NFL head coach. They have a long-term plan here. They've got the two rookies, obviously, in Burden and Loveland that they're excited about. But I wouldn't say that this is the year. You have to win this year. That's a really good division. I think they want to be competitive this year, and then next year is when we're doing all the they-must-win stuff.
Fair enough. Let me go to the last one, because, Graziano, you have, as long as I've known you, been repeating this statistic over and over again that no one repeats in the NFC East. Is this year that falls apart? Do the Eagles repeat as NFC East champs? Fact or fiction?
Fiction. It's 21 years since anybody did it. Weird stuff always happens. The Eagle fans are going to get mad at me, just like they did 2 years ago when I sat here and said the same thing. And with 2 weeks left in the season, it looked like they were going to win it. And then out of nowhere, Kyler Murray has like the game of the year and knocks them out, and Dallas comes up and beats them at the end. Weird stuff always happens. 21 years, no joke. These are highly competitive division. This is a highly competitive division. Teams that hate each other. Weird stuff happens all the time. Unfortunately for the Eagles, they can't win the division in 25.
There's so much.
I don't make the rules.
So much great history in the rivalries, obviously, Cowboys and Washington and Philadelphia and the Giants. It is an extraordinary one. And we came up with a good question, too. Which quarterback in that division has the most at stake this season? And as you'll see, we kind of all went our separate ways on all of this. And so, Traeger, I'll start with you. Which quarterback do you think has the most at stake of all of the quarterbacks in that division?
Jayden Daniels.
See, that's fascinating, because some might have said he has the least at stake.
Jayden Daniels had the greatest rookie season we have ever seen from an NFL player at any position in the history of the sport. He went and was NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, took a team that's been more abundant, has been awful for decades, took them to the NFC Championship game, and now the NFL is rewarding that with a schedule that includes 7 standalone games. They're being treated as if they are one of those premier NFL teams. And he's already in the conversation with Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and Lamar. They got him Tunsil. They got him Deebo Samuel. I have seen the sophomore jinx happen. I have seen the second year fall. Defensive coordinators now have a full season to scheme against this guy, and the world has been given to the Commanders franchise. If Jayden Daniels comes out there and they're 8-9, this is a massive step back. And truthfully, I don't see anyone else in the NFL who's got more on their shoulders than him to deliver.
Interesting. So I like where you're going. I see we view this differently, but I understand what you mean by that. You and Neek both went with Dak. Give me a minute on Dak.
Yeah, look, I think Jayden Daniels probably gets a pass from the fan base because they've been so starved for. So even if he does have a step back, they remember last year and still feel good about it. Whereas Dak Prescott, on his third head coach, right now making more money than any other quarterback in football, if he doesn't have a big year and the Cowboys don't win, I think that is going to damage him with his fan base. I think there's a lot more at stake for Dak Prescott. Jayden Daniels, even if he has a step back year, has time to fix it. Dak Prescott, to me, is running low on that.
And then Dominique, I thought I would have a little fun with this question. I think one could make an argument that it's Jackson Dart. For two reasons. One, everyone in that organization's job hangs in the balance of him being good. And two, what happens when or if Shedeur Sanders winds up being really good? What happens when, in his second year, Shedeur Sanders is in the Pro Bowl, and all of a sudden, all these good feelings don't seem so good, and Mel Kiper is standing on a table yelling, "I told you so." What do you think of that, Dominique Foxworth?
I think the pressure is going to be very, very high in New York because of the reasons that you said. I don't think that Russ is going to be a long-term answer. At some point, Jackson Dart is going to be asked to save one of the most well-followed and covered franchises in football. That's a hell of a lot of pressure. You're making a jump on that Cleveland stuff, though. But we'll see. That will make it worse.
I don't think so. I mean, reseeding or redoing how they do the seeding in the playoffs.
Yeah, if this proposal were to pass, a division winner wouldn't automatically get a top 4 seed in a home game. Division winners would all qualify for the playoffs, but then they would seed it according to record. And that would be a critical difference because, you know, if you have a 10-7 division winner, a 9-8 division winner that would host a what was it last year? The Vikings went on the road, right? They're 14-3.
Correct.
And they had to play on the road at the Rams, 10-7. This would not be the case under the new proposal, as you see here. If the exact standings from last year had happened again under the new proposal, you see on the right the way it would have been seeded. Rams at Eagles, first round. Buccaneers at Vikings. Packers at Commanders.
I am 100% in favor of this idea. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I like anything that makes the regular season more important.
And that's what people have to understand. Owners have historically resisted this change because they love the idea that winning your division gets you a home playoff game.
Right.
But there's concern. Last year's Week 18 was non-competitive in a lot of, there were maybe 1 or 2 games that mattered. And if they expand it to 18-game regular season, that problem could only get worse. So the idea would be maybe this incentivized teams who would rest their starters in the final week of the season to not do that.
The Rams are a good example of that. They didn't have to play the last week of the season because it was the difference between getting the 3 or the 4, and they didn't think that was a big deal. If they had all of a sudden been the 6 or the 7, it would have mattered. Dominique, this is a perfect illustration of what you said last week. When I talked about de-incentivizing losing, you said, no, Greeny, you're looking at it backwards. Incentivize winning. This would incentivize winning right to the end of the season. I love it. Do you?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't love this particular solution because we can't act as